Welcome, everyone. My name is Helen, and I'm here today to discuss this topic, shaking off the dust, and you will understand it better in a few minutes when we start the discussion. So I'm a student of the Spiritist philosophy, and what I'm going to be sharing here today with you is my understanding of this topic in light of Spiritism. And since I am a student, my viewpoints might differ from people from this group, because each one of us, including myself, we present on that what we have knowledge of. Okay? So before we start, I wanted to ask a few questions. So how influenced are you by other people's actions? Do you believe you're very influenced or not that much? And if we continue, are you constantly reacting to what's happening around you? Or are you responding to what's happening around you in accordance with your inner values? So what does that mean? We have to ask ourselves a question. Am I mostly reacting to what's happening around me? Or when I act, it's because it's based on something that's aligned with an inner value of mine? And do we even know what our inner values are? So this is what we're going to be addressing in today's topic. And the studies from this presentation is based on this book, Changing Attitude. And it's chapter 10, that the title is Shaking the Dust Off. I also used as bibliographic reference these two books, which is the Spirit's book and the Gospel According to Spiritism. So the Spirit's book, just reminding for those who might be fairly new to the Spiritist philosophy, contains the principles of the Spiritist philosophy. And it was brought by higher spirits, and it was brought through various mediums, and it was collected, the information, and compiled by Allan Kardec. And just reminding as well, so we can all, when I say the word God, everyone can understand what I mean by that, is that if you look at question number 1 of the Spirit's book, the Spirits respond that God is the supreme intelligence, creator of all things. So every time I say God, if I say God during the presentation, that's what I mean, the supreme intelligence that created all right? And the Gospel According to Spiritism is actually, it contains the essence of the Christ's teaching in light of what the higher spirits brought to explain the Christ's teaching. And when I say the Christ, I mean Jesus. And according to the Spirit's book, and that's in questions 6 to 5, Kardec asked, who would be the standard, like the role model, the guide that we should follow? Because you're going to see in this presentation that Spiritism values every single spiritual master that walked upon this planet and that helped humanity grow and develop. So Spiritism values all of them. But Allan Kardec asked this question so we could know what would be our model. And the Spirits answered to question 6 to 5 that it would be Jesus. So we will be getting snippets of Jesus' teachings during this chat of ours, and I got it from the Gospel According to Spiritism. So let's begin. Hamed, in Changing Attitudes, he says, and in answering to those questions that I asked in the beginning, that we should not allow different emotions to determine our way of thinking and acting. Because sometimes we do. Sometimes we're not even aware that we are reacting to things instead of looking inside and responding according to our inner inspiration or our values. Sometimes we don't even know. So it's very important that we start developing an awareness that we tend to react to external factors. It can be people, it can be situations. And if we're not aware, we'll continue to react instead of responding aligned to our values. And you will notice, if you pay attention to all the great spiritual teachers that walked here on earth, that they did not respond according to circumstances. They responded according to their inspiration and inner values. So no matter what came their way, and it could be things extremely difficult, they would always answer in the same loving way. And that's something that we're here to develop. So Hamed continues. And he says, our attitudes must originate from our innermost inspiration and not be a way to react to other people's attitude. So we see that in the great spiritual leaders, and including Jesus the Christ, that they would respond according to them, according to their inner being, and not according to whatever was happening outside. So if we look at this that Hamed brought us, first we should become aware that that's happening to us, that we sometimes are reacting to other people or to situations instead of being more proactive. The second thing is really to allow ourselves time to process what's happening and then respond. I don't know if you guys know, but I know many people that once something happens, they will respond right away without even thinking. And that is a sign of being reactive. Whereas some people, they take that in, they ponder, and they think, what's the best way to respond to this? And we should be moving towards that direction. So identify that we're reacting that way. Number 2 is allowing time to process that information or that emotion that comes up. And the third thing is choosing how we're going to respond. And once we start doing that for ourselves, shouldn't we learn to respect others' innermost truth and inspiration? What do you guys think? And if that's what we believe that's the best, because if we want to be respected ourselves, we should offer that to other people. So it's not only respect their viewpoints or their choices, it's also respect their beliefs. So this is what we're going to be touching today. Respect to others' viewpoints, to others' way of thinking, and others' beliefs, even religious or philosophical beliefs. So Hamed continues saying that we should not inflict on others the constraint of being convinced to accept our reality, as if our way to translate the divine laws were the best one. So what does he mean by that? That we should not insist that other people believe our reality. They should share the way that we believe. And that's because we are not the best interpret for the divine laws for everyone. So we are the best interpreters of the divine laws for ourselves, because it's aligned to who we are, our level of development as a spirit. And the other people has maybe another reality. So we should not inflict that on other people, like push our beliefs and insist that they believe the same way that we believe. And it's so interesting because in the Gospel According to Spiritism, chapter 25, in items 10 and 11, The higher spirits told Kardec, and they were saying that in the 1800s, that today, and that was then, almost 200 years ago, today Spiritism says, do not violate any consciences. Do not force anyone to leave their faith in order to adopt yours. Isn't that very progressive thinking? Because the spirits were bringing a set of teachings and a philosophy that would improve people's lives. But at the same time, the higher spirits, they understood that not everyone would benefit from that teaching because of their level of understanding. So when they say, do not violate any conscience, we shouldn't be forcing or wanting people to believe in something that we believe. And the higher spirits said that. And we're going to see that even Jesus, 2,000 years ago, he said the same to his disciples when he asked the disciples to teach what he had brought, because his teachings would help improve humanity, like human lives. But even then, and he was 100% sure that that was true, he never asked the disciples, and we'll see in a minute, to impose that upon other people. And I think that that's very, very important for us to keep in mind. And that's why we bring the teachings here, because they are so valuable. But in no way we want you to abandon whatever it is that you believe, but maybe adopt some things that might be useful for you. And some people might adopt most of the things that we say. So the problem is, and that's Hamed saying as well, is when we feel the need to correct opinions, to point ways, to induct experiences, preventing people from exerting options and experiencing their own lives. So the real problem is when we assume a posture that we are the detainers of truth. And we are students as well, no matter which faith we profess. So no matter what our belief system is, we are students of that. And the enlightened beings that came to earth, and Christ as being the one that the spirits commended that we followed as a role model, they never imposed what they taught. They would show us what we had to do, and they would really live what they were saying, but they never imposed. They never imposed. They just showed us what we should do. And let's see here. So this is the Spirit's book. And the Spirit's book, in question 833, Kardec asks the spirits, is there something in human beings which escapes all constraint and through which they enjoy absolute freedom? What do you guys think? Is there something is there somewhere where we're completely free? And the spirits say, it is through thought that they enjoy unlimited freedom. So we're free from our minds, for thoughts knows no obstacles. But interestingly, he said that its manifestations may be hindered, right? But not erased. So what did the spirits mean by the manifestation may be hindered is that sometimes they might want to prevent you from thinking freely, but really that option is still available, because whatever goes on inside us, inside our minds, is ours only. And the only one who knows all that is really the Creator, isn't it? Like fully understands us within our thoughts and our way of being would be God, the Creator. And then, in question 838, Kardec asked, is every belief to be respected, even if it is known to be false? That was an interesting statement. What if you know that what someone believes is false? You should still respect that. Is that something that you should still do? And the Spirit said, every belief is respectable when it is sincere and when it leads to the practice of the good. The only beliefs you should condemn are those that lead to wrongdoing. So look how interesting. And it is really aligned to what we have saw until now, isn't it? That really the spirits, they say that first, you're free to think, because that's the ultimate free, that's where we're really free. But not only that, that every belief that's sincere and leads to the practice of good should be respected. And we're going to see why. Because if people are in different levels of understanding, maybe the perfect belief that we think might be false is what they need at that moment. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's what the spirits brought, saying that, yes, we should respect it. And now let's listen to what Jesus brought us. So this whole chapter in Changing Attitudes comes from this passage that Jesus said that whenever someone does not wish to receive you or to listen to your words, when you leave that house or city, wipe the dust from your feet. And you can find that in Matthew 10 and 14. So Jesus was talking to his disciples, explaining how they should be sharing his teaching, and told them to go to the city and to visit the cities and visit people's homes, because that was the practice of the time, that people would stay in people's homes. But he said that if people did not want to listen to what they had to say, or didn't want to receive them in their houses, that was okay. That when they left that house, they should wipe the dust from their feet. And what did he mean by wipe the dust off their feet? That they shouldn't carry anything that wasn't good once they left. So not any resentment, not any feelings towards those people that were negative. Because as we discussed previously, each person is in a different level of understanding. And maybe what the disciples were bringing to them was something that they could not comprehend and that they would not agree, and that was okay. Because they weren't trying to reach those who weren't ready. They were trying to reach those who were ready. And that's why he said, do not carry anything from that city or from that house. Leave everything behind. And that's what he meant by wipe the dust. So the title of today's discussion, Shaking the Dust Off, brings us to think that that's how we should act. We should be willing to shake off the dust, shake off whatever it is that doesn't serve us after we interact with someone or in a certain circumstance. We shouldn't be carrying that dust around if it's not something useful. So Hamed said that life and the greater life has countless ways to inspire and reveal, guiding individuals to the spiritual development. So it's very naive of us, I would say, to think that only one specific way would work for everyone, especially because we're in different levels of understanding, of spiritual understanding. But he said that nobody has been forgotten when he says that the greater life has countless ways to inspire and reveal. So it's not just our truth that will lead to development, that people will learn in different ways and going through different paths to find their own way. And here I put a picture where you can see the different kinds of paths. And I'm sure that everyone looking at this would identify with a specific path that they would think would be best for them. I don't know which one you would prefer, but I have my favorite. And the same thing is when we're choosing our spiritual path. We have truths, different truths, and each one will definitely have ways to grow. So Hamed said that keeping the dust on our feet, contrary to that what Jesus had said, to wipe the dust off your feet. So keeping the dust on your feet means not having the understanding of the immensity and the diversity of the universal possibilities that lead creatures according to their astral age, and always at the precise moment of their inner growth. So let's have a look at what he was saying here. So if we don't wipe off our feet, if we don't let go and just understand that each person might or might not agree with our way of thinking, means that if we don't do that, it means that we don't understand that there is so much diversity on the planet. And it wouldn't be different with the path to our growth. It couldn't be. If we are so different, there could not be a one-size-fits-all path to spiritual growth. And that's why we shouldn't be in conflict with other people if they believe slightly different to what we believe. We have to be open that it might be that people will agree and people won't agree with our way of thinking. And I think that's very powerful. And when I studied that in the Spiritist philosophy, that really spoke to my heart. Because I think we have to respect the other person's belief. And I thought that that was so beautifully put from the higher spirits, because I can, and I'm sure you can, see, like I said, in the greater, like the great human beings, the example of human beings that came to the planet, none of them forced anything towards anyone. They were extremely nonviolent, but they would share the truth because they knew that that was something beneficial. Right? They didn't expect people to agree with them. They allowed people to find their own path if that was the case. But they also helped those who were ready for the truth, isn't it, for that specific time. And I thought that this was absolutely beautiful. So we finished saying that we should launch the seeds without the desire for applause or acknowledgement, for they may not blossom soon, but on the fertile soil of human feelings, there will be a day that the field will produce at its time. And isn't that beautiful? That we should launch the seeds without the desire of applause or acknowledgement. So if we have something and we have really the intention of helping someone because that belief helped us so much, and we want to share that with other people, or even a point of view, or even an opinion. Because what we were discussing in the beginning was when you think that your opinion is the only opinion valid, but when you're really, truly just wanting to share your opinion because that might benefit the other person, we should do so without any desire of applaud or of recognition or of acknowledgement. Because it is that sometimes we plant that little seed and nothing grows at that time. But as Hamed says beautifully, but on the fertile soil of human feelings, there will be a day that the field will produce at its own time or at its time. So I hope you all got some value from what we discussed here today. I thought that this was a beautiful thing that he brought, to respect other people's point of view and even other people's beliefs, but not avoiding to share just because of what we discussed. Like, share, but without any expectation, and let time and let the universe or God work on the soil of people's hearts. Thank you very much.